Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan's 2311 Racing is expected to add a second full-time car next season with or without a charter, and according to The Athletic, Kurt Busch is the leading candidate to get that ride. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric and welcome to Out of the Groove. I hope you all had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. We have a lot to get to this week, a lot in today's episode, including a show and tell Tuesday at the end. But first, today's episode is sponsored by Swan Security. Actually, I'm getting a phone call, sorry. Howdy. Yeah, I'm doing the Swan ad right now. Wait, what? You want him to do the ad read? Well, I thought I've been doing a pretty good job. I've told him about the Swan Enforcer with its 4K Ultra HD cameras, with motion detecting and police siren lights. I've even told him about the mobile app and how easy it is to check in on your camera's live feed at any time from anywhere. Yes, we've talked about the free cloud video storage as well. And hey, yeah, I've even told him about the promo code for fans of Out of the Groove. If they head to swan.com and use the code GROOVE, they get 15% off their order. I've told them everything they need to know about how great Swan Security products are, so I don't know why you feel like I need to be replaced on my own show. Okay, if you insist, we'll put them in, we'll give it a trial run. All right, I'm sorry about that. Well, here to tell you more about Swan Security products, here's the Enforcer. Yeah, it's about how I thought it would go. This is my chair, this is my show. Go protect my things, do what you do best. In all seriousness, thank you to Swan Security for supporting Out of the Groove, and use that promo code GROOVE for 15% off at swan.com. All that's down in the description. All right, now we have a pretty huge NASCAR silly season update to focus on this episode, but before we get too far into it, I want to give Kyle Larson a shout out. The dude went from winning the Coca-Cola 600, NASCAR's longest race, a crown jewel event, to then winning a World of Outlaws race less than 24 hours later in a completely different state. This guy is crazy. Last night at Lawrenceburg Speedway in Indiana, Kyle Larson held off Logan Schuchart and Sheldon Haudenschild to win the World of Outlaws event. Stock cars one night, wing sprint cars the next. Kyle Larson may very well be the most talented all-around race car driver in North America today. Maybe that's a bit hyperbolic, but I think he's easily in that discussion. Kyle Larson is a heck of a wheelman. If anyone denies his talent at this point, they're blinded to that fact. So I just wanted to point that out. The fact that he won this race less than 24 hours after winning one of NASCAR's biggest events, a couple pretty big paydays for Kyle Larson, that's what that means. Just wanted to give him a shout out over there. It's not just the fact that he's driving super fast Hendrick cars in NASCAR. No, he makes anything go fast. So I wanted to mention that, but I want to focus this episode on his former NASCAR Cup Series teammate, Kurt Busch, because over the weekend, The Athletic dropped a pretty huge NASCAR silly season story. On Saturday, Jordan Bianchi, writing for The Athletic, reported that 2311 Racing is going to expand to a two-car team next year, and that Kurt Busch is expected to be their new driver. Whoa, did not see that one coming. Now, Kurt Busch told reporters this weekend that he had not spoken to 2311 Racing or even Chip Ganassi Racing about his 2022 plans. Busch is in the final year of his current contract with Chip Ganassi Racing, a team that he's driven for since 2019. He's won 2 races, made it to the round of 8 last year. Now, according to The Athletic, Kurt Busch actually has a clause in his current contract that prevents him from talking to other teams about new deals until June of this year, which it's June 1st, so I guess now the gloves have come off. Kurt Busch is free to talk to whoever he'd like, but that's what's prevented a lot of those discussions up to this point. So where did this report come from? If he hasn't talked to anybody, why does it sound like such a sure deal that he's the front runner to land the second 2311 car? Where's this coming from? Well, it's likely coming from 2311 Racing themselves. So is this likely to happen? Well, first, we know, because they've talked about it publicly on numerous occasions, that 2311 Racing, Denny Hamlin, Michael Jordan's team, they plan on expanding to a two-car organization as soon as possible. And in fact, speaking to reporters this weekend, Denny Hamlin said that they may be willing to do it with or without a second charter. And in fact, he had a few very interesting things to say about the charter system in general and whether or not he believes now is the right time to invest in a new charter. Here's some of what that sounded like.
I think people have charters that can't even afford to race the charters they have, and they've really relied on a safety net from people leasing them and things like that, that I think charters can be held hostage if they wanted to, and people trying to drive prices up on them and whatnot. You get a guaranteed amount of money, but the charter agreement's up at the end of 2024, and there could be so many changes that changes the business model. I don't know how much I want to invest in a charter right now. I'm okay being patient with that. I think that the short answer is no, I don't have to have a charter.
A few very interesting details there, especially about the existing charter agreement. Like, I knew that the current charter agreement had a deadline here a few years down the line, but based on everything I'd kind of heard, I figured that it was probably going to get renewed without too much fanfare. But Denny Hamlin voicing some concern there that we could see a completely different looking charter system in just a few short years. The charter system may completely change, it may not even be the charter system. It sounds like there are still many unknowns there, which surprised me quite a bit to hear. But Denny Hamlin makes it clear there they don't necessarily need that second charter to feel comfortable fielding a second full-time car next season. So hey, is this move likely? I think it's very plausible. I think this is a win-win for both parties involved. Firstly, looking at this from 23XI Racing's perspective, this would be a fantastic get for them. Kurt Busch is a 32-time winner in the NASCAR Cup Series. He's a former NASCAR Cup Series champion. He's won the Daytona 500. He's a veteran with a ton of experience winning races. He's been with Chip Ganassi Racing the last 2.5 years. He's won twice, as I mentioned before, and last year, in a year where the rest of Chip Ganassi, namely Matt Kenseth in the 42, struggled, Kurt Busch brought that one car into the round of 8. No matter how you slice it, Kurt Busch is an extremely talented driver. And he also may bring some additional funding. Kurt Busch has had a very strong relationship with Monster Energy over the last several years. He brought them from Stewart-Haas Racing to Chip Ganassi. There's a chance he could bring them from Chip Ganassi over to 23XI Racing. Now, there's no guarantee there, and it's a little weird because Bubba Wallace already has a deal with the Dr. Pepper brand, and Monster Energy is owned by Coca-Cola. That might be weird, but perhaps they'd let it slide and they'd still run on Kurt Busch's car. Who knows? But if you're 23XI Racing, you're getting a championship caliber veteran driver, someone who can really give your team a strong baseline, let you know exactly where your equipment stands relative to the competition. And this is a driver that might bring some additional important funding. You can never have too much sponsorship support, you know? Kurt Busch is 42 years old. He'll be 43 by the time next season starts, but I mean, Kevin Harvick's in his mid-40s and still winning races. Matt Kenseth had one of his best years at age 43. Mark Martin was winning into his 50s. I think Kurt Busch still has at least a couple pretty stout years ahead of him. Now, looking at this move from Kurt Busch's perspective, I think at worst, moving from Chip Ganassi over to 23XI Racing is a lateral move. I don't think that the 23XI Racing car is going to be worse than the one car at Chip Ganassi Racing. And you know, Chip Ganassi Racing is a good team. They're not a great team. I don't think Chip Ganassi is really a championship level organization. They're just a half notch below that, but they're not bad. I mean, Kurt makes the playoffs. He's won races in their cars, but it's clear they don't have what the Gibbs cars have, or what the Hendrick cars have these days, or what the Penske cars have. So moving over to 23XI Racing, I don't think your car is going to be any worse. It may not be much better at first. You know, this year, 23XI's first season, it's been very up and down, pretty mediocre more often than not. I still feel like 23XI Racing's in a position where they will get better before they get worse. They're still, you know, finding their groove, getting their feet underneath them, sorting all these new pieces out. I feel like throughout this season, at least, they've pretty consistently shown steady improvement week to week. They haven't had like sudden fall-offs too much. So you're joining a team that's on the up and up, that shares resources with Joe Gibbs Racing, has the support of Toyota Racing Development. I think the potential ceiling moving over to 23XI Racing is extremely high. Like, he could win a championship at its best. I don't think you're winning a championship in Chip Ganassi equipment these days. I just don't. I don't think the ceiling is that high. Also, speaking of working with Joe Gibbs Racing and Toyota, Kurt Busch is going to get to sit in on team meetings with his younger brother, Kyle Busch. They've never been teammates in their both very long and successful Cup careers together. I know they're really competitive with each other, competitive with everybody, but I gotta imagine that it'll be kind of nice for Kurt and Kyle Busch to semi-work together a bit. And keep in mind, he's working with other great teammates as well at Toyota, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr. No disrespect to Ganassi and Ross Chastain, but you know, would you rather lean on Ross Chastain for info or Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, and Martin Truex Jr., Christopher Bell, Bubba Wallace? I'd take those guys. I'm sorry, Ross, he's good, but he doesn't have the experience that the Toyota camp has. So if you're Kurt Busch, you have the potential to learn more, to have faster race cars. If you switch over to Toyota in 23XI, I think this would be a smart move for him as well if all the pieces fall into place and both sides come to an agreement. agreement. This report kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, up until last week, we still weren't sure if Kurt Busch may retire at the end of this year. He seemed to quiet those rumors down last week, but now we have all new rumors that he could be switching not just organizations, but manufacturers entirely. This could be huge if it happens. I kind of hope it does. I want to see 23XI Racing put a competitive veteran driver behind the wheel of one of their race cars. I think that will help amplify that program and get them off the ground quicker than they've gotten so far this year. That's no disrespect to Bubba Wallace, but I think most any of us who look at it objectively can say Kurt Busch is a better driver right now than Bubba Wallace is, so I think he can really do nothing but help that team from their current position. So I'm all for it. I hope it happens. We'll wait for more details to come out. It sounds like this month, Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, they'll finally perhaps get to sit down and talk details now that we've reached June, I suppose. But hey, this also means he could talk to Chip Ganassi. Maybe a deal could still be struck there. What happens to that one car if Kurt Busch does in fact leave, as many are expecting? That's a real question mark, because I don't know if he takes Monster Energy sponsorship with him. I don't know. Can Chip Ganassi Racing afford to fund 2 cars next year if they don't land another major sponsor? I mean, it'd be tough to lose Monster Energy and Credit One Bank in the span of like a year. I just don't know. Maybe they're able to land a driver like a Justin Haley who's able to bring some funding, bring some sponsorship. Maybe that happens. I could see that. I often associate Chip Ganassi Racing with Colleague and with Spire. They often share drivers and even work together preparing race cars sometimes. So, Colleague plans to race full-time in Cup next year. I feel like, Justin Haley or Kaz Grala could be a leading candidate for that team. I feel like Chip Ganassi Racing will also be able to grab one of those drivers, maybe whoever Colleague doesn't get. Another driver this weekend, Spire, is racing Ben Rhodes in the 77. I believe this will be Ben Rhodes' Cup Series debut. He'll be racing at Sonoma, so maybe Ben Rhodes is a candidate for one of these Cup Series rides. I would be a bit surprised, but I don't know. I think a lot of questions remain about that one team. Can they afford to stay open if they don't bring in a major sponsor to replace Monster? I don't know. I don't know what Chip Ganassi's relationship or contractual obligations are to Chevrolet. I really do not know. It's all speculation from here. But boy, it sure does sound like Kurt Busch, 2004 Cup champion, will be switching to Toyota. He hasn't raced for Toyota. He's driven for Ford. He's driven for Chevy. He's driven for Dodge. He's never driven for Toyota until perhaps next season. That's what it's looking like. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you think this is a smart move for Kurt? Smart move for Toyota? Leave a comment down below and share your thoughts with all of us. Now, it is Tuesday. Y'all know what time it is. Show and Tell Tuesday is back. Again, I want to thank all of you who send things to my P.O. Box. I really appreciate reading the letters that you guys send. Of course, those of you who send cool packages and things to show off on during this segment, I really appreciate that as well. Really contributing to the content. I love the comments we get every week. People like, oh, I used to have one of those as a kid, or oh, that was always one of my favorite cars, favorite paint schemes, etc., etc. That's pretty fun. So I really appreciate those of you who contribute to Show and Tell Tuesday. It really does mean the world to me. So we've got a few little packages here to get through. Let's see what stuff y'all are sharing with us this week. First package, and this is from Debbie in Kansas. Oh boy, it's a book. She says she found it at the library and thought of me. Oh, that's pretty sweet. NASCAR champions Matt Kenseth. This is a pretty cool looking cover, guys. 2003 car, championship winning season right there. Matt Kenseth is a race car driver. He races stock cars. This is absolutely riveting. This is pretty awesome. I'm gonna save this. If I ever have children one day, I will use this to introduce them to the legend that was Matt Kenseth. Oh hey, I was at this race. I believe this was the first race I was ever at. That's where this photo comes from. 2005 Dickies 500 at Texas. This is pretty awesome. Thank you, Debbie. I will take good care of this one. Alex in North Carolina. Oh, we got some fan art. Look at this. Driver of the number 17 Out of the Groove Camaro. I like how we even add the little hat. If you watch my Rocket League streams, I like using the little hat on the NASCAR cars. This is super cool. Thank you, Alex. That's a pretty groovy looking ride. We've got some, it looks like some trading cards sent by Grant from Georgia. Actually, a few interesting ones. Oh, some of these are signed. Whoa, what the heck? This is a trading card. Six of diamonds. Oh, that's a good card. Was this your card? Signed by Cole Custer. That's gotta be Cole Custer 41 up at the top. That looks like Eric Jones 20. I think he said it all in his note. It's Kyle Larson there, the big one there in the middle. It makes sense. I can kind of see the K and the L. And on the other side, are these real? My gosh. That's Bubba Wallace right there in black. That's Jimmy Johnson, the little one in gold. And then above it, I believe that's Austin Dillon. You got the 3. Holy moly. Apparently on the right side there, that one going up and down, that's Kevin Harvick. Goodness gracious. Whoa. This is a heck of a playing card right here. And there's more. Oh my gosh. I think this one's real as well. A Danica Patrick. That's pretty spectacular. Where'd you get all these from? Wow. What autograph line did you sit in? And here we go. We got one signed by Casey Kane, apparently. 10 of spades. I'm not really sure how that's related to Casey Kane, but that gold signature looks nice. NASCAR fans find the craziest collectibles. We got a big box here from Joe in California. He says, I think I bought this box set in 1992 because it was on sale at Toys R Us. I kept it in the box because I thought it would go up in value. 30 years later, I checked eBay and saw the same set for $10. I lost money. Look at this. He says, maybe you can hang on to it for 30 more years and see what happens. Thank you so much, Joe. Check this out. Unopened, still in the box, Dale Earnhardt Super Collector's Set from Racing Champions. You got the 164 scale hauler there in the middle. You've got a 124 scale die cast, a 164th scale, and a 43rd, whatever that is there up at the top, and a card. Look, you even got the old Toys R Us labels there in the upper right. This is awesome. Dang, the packaging and some of these old NASCAR collectible things was impressive. That is super awesome. Thanks for sharing, Joe. This thing was wrapped up good. We've got, looks like more trading cards from, these come from Josh in New York, and he wants me to shout out his eBay page, Mouth2404. Let me get this painter's tape off it. A signed Matt Kenseth 2017 card. Look at that. The camera's having a hard time focusing, but check that. That is shiny. Splendid. Reed Sorensen autographed. Look at that. Dale Jr. holographic. Brett Moffitt's got a signature on this one. Look at that. Oh, Eric Jones too. EJ. Can you guys even see that? Look at these things, so shiny. My gosh, like emeralds. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. with blue pen there at the bottom. Whoa. Haley Deegan, this looks fantastic. Denny Hamlin as well. Look at Denny. Oh man, is this a Matt Kenseth rookie card as well? Dude, crazy, crazy stuff, Josh. Thank you for sharing. Wow. So many awesome trading cards. What's in this box? Oh my gosh. Ooh. What is this? Hold on, there's a note. At agent.nascar has commissioned a diecast for you. Agent NASCAR on Instagram commissioned a diecast. This was made by Sonoma Diecast. Check them out on Instagram at Sonoma.diecast. They created a custom 164 scale out of the groove car. I gotta check this out. This is an old Bubba Wallace box, but oh my gosh. Look at the detail on this thing. They even got my name up on the windshield. What? The Matt Kenseth 17 font out of the groove on the side, on the back, on the hood. This is incredible. Really a good, solid quality as well. My gosh. One of the most impressive custom 164 scale diecast cars I have ever seen. I don't know why, it's just so cool. You spend your whole life playing with toy cars, pushing them up and down Hot Wheels tracks and things all over my parents' kitchen floor. To see your name and your logo and everything on such a high quality production here, I don't know. It makes me feel like a little kid, but that's pretty awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Sonoma Diecast created it. Thank you, Agent NASCAR, for sending it to me. This is fantastic. We have one final box. This one comes from Justin in North Carolina. Oh, I see the black and yellow. All right, get through the foam. Oh my goodness. Look at that gorgeous shine. Matt Kenseth's 2005 Ford Taurus, fresh out the box. The first Matt Kenseth car I ever saw race in person. In fact, the first NASCAR car, period, I saw lead laps. Matt Kenseth led the opening laps of the first race I ever attended in this paint scheme. And this is a high quality addition. Look at that. The hood comes up, of course. You can see down in there. The back comes up. Oh, the roof flap came up as well. This looks so awesome. Justin said he used to live near Cambridge, Wisconsin, which is Matt Kenseth's hometown. He spent a lot of time at Matt Kenseth's old fan club museum, which I've been to a couple of times. It doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately, but wow, this is a special car to me. This is a gorgeous diecast. Very awesome of you to share this with us here, Justin. I can't get over it. That looks so great. Yeah, this I often say this is my favorite Matt Kenseth paint scheme of all time. Seeing it in 1/24 scale just continues to reaffirm those beliefs. This looks utterly gorgeous. Utterly gorgeous, utterly beautiful, completely beautiful, absolutely. It's a weird way to say it. Anyway, this is awesome. Wow. Thank you guys. This is a crazy, crazy Show and Tell Tuesday. Y'all really are the best in the world. I really appreciate y'all sharing all of this awesome stuff with us here on the show. That's gonna do it for this episode. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. We talk NASCAR day in, day out. Plenty more to discuss later this week. You're not gonna wanna miss a thing. As always, a huge thank you to my amazing Patreon supporters as well. I couldn't do this show without your incredible support every single month. We'll be back this week, probably tomorrow. I have a video I'm working on. We'll hopefully get up very, very soon. But thank you all for watching this one. I will see you in the next one. Have a fantastic rest of your day.